So today's lesson, super simple, looking at 5 words. 5 words that, when said in the UK, absolutely fine, quite acceptable, but if you are using them, well, not just in the USA, in America, but also with an American speaker, they could land you in a bit of hot water, meaning trouble. So the last that I'm going to share with you is a faux pas, an error that I have made with language and an American that I really think was potentially very offensive and certainly quite rude. So I want to share my experience with you as well there. And I would love you to share any stories that you have where you have made a similar error, a simple case of using a word that in British English is perfectly acceptable, perfectly okay to use, but with Americans it might not be the right thing to say. So let's have a look. 5 super simple basic words that really could cause a little bit of offence. Number 1, rubber. Now, you could make this even worse by asking someone, have you got a big rubber? I need a large rubber. Now, ordinarily in the UK, this is not a problem. In the UK, a rubber is an eraser. When you've written something in pencil and you want to remove it from the paper, you can use a rubber. But in American English, a rubber is not referring to an eraser, something that you use at school, at work. It's referring to a condom. Yes, so if you ask for a large rubber as well, then you're really going to land yourself in hot water. This is such a small difference in language, but rather than offend, it would probably be quite entertaining if you make this mistake. But still, depending on the situation, if you're at work, you might not want to make this mistake. So just be aware, in British English, rubber, in American English, eraser. Number 2, a word that actually we use both versions of in the UK, but probably more commonly used, referring to a pacifier in American English or a dummy in British English. So I have a 2-year-old son. He had a dummy when he was younger, and that was perfectly acceptable. But dummy in American English means stupid. It's more commonly used to refer to a stupid person. In the UK, we would normally call someone that's stupid an idiot. Either way, it's pretty offensive. But just so that you're aware, in case there's any confusion, that's the difference. So you don't want to be asking for a dummy. If you're in America, you'd be asking for somebody who's stupid. Has anyone seen a dummy around here? Has anyone seen an idiot? Right, number 3. Now, oddly enough, I knew what the American word meant, but actually didn't know what the British version meant. So, hooker. When I say hooker, what do you think of? Yeah, I think most of us would probably think of this as referring to a prostitute. However, in rugby, a sport traditionally played, well, everywhere, we're not too bad at it in the UK. The Welsh are pretty good as well. But essentially a hooker is a position in a rugby team. Right, so a hooker is a forward who wears the jersey number 2. They're in the front row of the scrum, and their primary role in the scrum is to hook the ball with their feet, apparently. If you know anything about rugby, you will probably understand what I said better than what I did. So, hooker, prostitute, most commonly used in America, but also in the UK. And in rugby, it's simply a position that's played. Right, and number 4. Now, I think this is particularly useful because you could be insulting someone if you said, wow, I didn't realise your dad's loaded, or your parents are loaded. Now, if you say this in America, then your friend might think that you're talking about their parents being drunk, okay, that they've drunk too much alcohol, that they're intoxicated. So in the UK, however, we actually use loaded to refer to someone being rich. It's colloquial, it's slang. If someone's loaded, they have a lot of money. You might see someone with a particularly expensive car or I don't know, expensive jewelry, clothes, designer clothes, whatever it might be, and say, wow, they look loaded. But if you say this in America, you're suggesting that they're drunk, which could be insulting. It's certainly confusing. So I would love to know, any Americans out there or speakers of American English, would you confuse that? Would you think if I said loaded, I'm referring to someone being drunk or rich? I'm curious to know how familiar American English speakers are with the term loaded in English. Right, and number 5, there's a little bit of a story to go with this. I hope you enjoy. I moved to Portugal a year ago, and I initially met a very lovely woman with a son the same age as mine. We met for coffee, we took the children with us, and her son was playing on the floor. He was walking around, you know, as toddlers do, wobbling about, but he was picking up lots of things. And one of the things he was picking up off the floor were what I referred to as Fagbutts. So this is me speaking quite casually using English slang. Now, an American, when they hear that, Fagbutts, there's two things going on here. Butt, okay, can refer to the base of the cigarette, the end of the cigarette that's been discarded, that's been thrown away. And fag, or faggots as well, but in this case I'm referring just to fag, is actually a very derogatory, disgusting term to refer to someone who is homosexual, who's gay. It's a word that I would absolutely hate anyone to use. I would never use it to refer to somebody in this way. It's disgusting. It's a horrible, horrible word, but in my innocence, with my English, colloquial English slang, I referred to a cigarette as a fag, which is perfectly normal in the UK, but in America it would be a derogatory name for a gay person. So not a word you want to use, a word that could be highly embarrassing with the wrong people and certainly offensive. So fag butt, okay, of course also referring fag, the gay part, and then butt referring to bottom. Arse. In the UK, we'd often say arse in the slang. In America, I think you say ass. But butt is also bottom. So I said fag butt, meaning this, but the connotations, the imagery that it conjured was probably something quite different. So embarrassing for me, humorous, thankfully, for my friend, but still something to be aware of. So let me know, have you made these mistakes with any of the words I've just shared, or is there another word that I have missed? An English word that's perfectly innocent in the UK, but in America, but not buttocks or fag butt, but in America could be very offensive, rude, or humorous. Do share, comment below if there's a story to go with it. I would love to hear more. Right, so simple lesson, but hopefully enjoyable and useful. Now, talking about useful, if you would like to receive a PDF of this lesson with some exercises and indeed updates on our content, courses, and well, us, then if you go to www.loveenglish.co.uk, you can sign up for our newsletter, our weekly or fortnightly, meaning every other week, newsletter, where we will be sharing content from our courses, special offers, and PDFs of our YouTube lessons for free. So click the link in the description or simply Google loveenglish.co.uk and you will find us. Don't forget as well, you can sign up to our social media, Love English UK on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to hearing some of your amusing and hopefully not too offensive stories.